Good morning, traders. I am Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, October 28th. We kick off a new week and the final days of trading in October following a mixed day on Wall Street after a roller coaster of a regular session on Friday. The Nasdaq remained propped up by tech and ended up 103 points or more than 0.5%. The Dow slipped into the red, down from earlier session highs, closing off 259 points or 0.61%. The S&P 500 also slid from morning highs to end basically flat or down 1 point or 0.03%. Bill, let's get into a new week with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're up, 0.37%, more than 0.3%. That's positive going into today. The big factor here is the de-escalation of the war premium risk that attributed to the Middle East. Yes, Israel did a retaliatory strike against Iran on Saturday morning. It was telegraphed. They told them ahead of time, hey, this is what we're going to hit. Then they went out and they did exactly what they said they were going to do. They went for military targets mainly, so that was a positive. Then you got to wait for Iran's response, which was measured, saying our air defense systems, handled everything very well. They did little damage. They did write a letter to the UN to condemn the act. But it wasn't like they said that they're going to retaliate, right away. So that's actually causing the concerns about an escalating event in the Middle East to fall down, and that's causing markets to rise this morning. Bond yields, we got to keep an eye on them today and all this week because, this is a big week for corporate earnings and economic announcements. Google, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Amazon, they're all scheduled to report this week. And then, of course, we got the GDP report, the PCE report, the JOLTS report, the non-farms payroll report, and others. So, there's a lot of quality economic data reports that we got to pay attention to, but there is no Fed speak because the Fed is on the blackout period because they got a Fed meeting next week. If you think this week's busy, next week we got the election, we get the election results, we get the Fed meeting, and we got more more earnings announcements coming out. So these next 2 weeks are probably like the busiest for the entire year. We're keeping an eye on what's happening overseas. The DAX was up 100 points earlier this morning, and now it's down 48 points or 0.25%. The FTSE's down 24 points or 0.29%. That could be because, that index is very highly weighted to oil stocks, and energy stocks are taking a hit this morning due to crude oil falling down. The CAC in Paris is up about 5 points or 0.06%. What else do we see? Last night in Asia, we did see gains. The Nikkei jumped 691 points or 1.82%. They had an election over the weekend. When an election is over, it removes a degree of uncertainty in the markets, and the markets typically like that. They don't like uncertainty, and so they typically fall ahead of an election and rally after an election. It's not a testament to someone being elected or someone. It's more a testament that uncertainty is removed. You look at the Nikkei. The yen also declined to almost a 3-month low against the dollar. That's positive for the export heavy driven economy. Then we got Hong Kong. Hong Kong actually rose 9 points or 0.04%. You saw some gains in property and tech, which offsetted losses in the financials. But China, jumped 0.68%. Over the weekend, their industrial profits data indicated a weakening economy for the first 9 months of the year, which that is actually boosting confidence for the upcoming PBOC meeting, which is also next week, where the market is expecting additional a stimulus to come out of that meeting. So that's another factor. Then we got to take a look at oil this morning because oil. I was watching oil last night when it opened up at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and oil prices automatically fell 5%. Then they, this morning they were down 6%. Now they're down between 5.5% and 6%. You got WTI at $67.47 a barrel. That's down 6%. But you got Brent at $71.72 a barrel. That's down 5.69%. I mean, you've got two factors causing this weakness. You get the disappointing economic data out of China and the de-escalation of the tensions in the Middle East. So yeah, oil is down hard. We'll see if it moves even further off of these lower prices this morning, Emily.
And Bill, at the top of that opening there, sifting through the details, you mentioned earnings action and economic events are going to be, major drivers this week. A lot of information and data to be watching on both of those fronts, and we're going to take it day by day here. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action?
Let's talk about earnings action. Let's talk about Bank of Hawaii, ticker BOH, Boy Oscar Henry. They beat by 11 cents and they did it on higher revenue. That stock's trading higher by 3.53%. Then get On Semiconductor, ticker ON, Oscar Nancy. They beat by 2 cents on higher revenue. It just came out a little bit ago. I haven't really read it, but the stock's up 1.57% to 72.37. It was trading 75 earlier. So, it probably wasn't a great report, but it was still positive. So that's good to see. And then upcoming, we got Novartis, ticker NVS, Nancy Victor Sam. They're coming out tomorrow morning. The EPS is $1.94. Expected move is 4.66. Point out that the put call ratio is 4.10 on Friday. McDonald's, ticker MCD, they're releasing tomorrow morning. EPS is $3.17. Expected move is 4.10%. Their put call ratio is 1.23. They got other issues, the E. coli outbreak that's going to be affecting their stock. Pfizer, ticker PFE, their EPS is 64 cents. They're releasing tomorrow morning. Their expected move is 4.25%. Put call ratio there is 0.31, which is, semi-positive. But that's what I have for you in terms of earnings update, Emily.
Bill, the other thing you're going to be watching throughout the week are economic events. We'll start here with Monday, even though not a heavy day today, plenty coming throughout the week. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of economic events?
Yeah, definitely. It's not a heavy day today. We at 10:30 a.m. you get the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index. Not really heavily important, but it is an economic report being released today. But the crucial data comes later this week. With the GDP report, the PCE report, the JOLTS report, the ADP employment report, the jobless claims report, and of course the non-farm payroll reports all due out this week, Emily.
And Bill, keeping track of all of that is no small task. Grabbing that information, using it to your advantage on any given trading day is a heavy lift, and you use NewsWare to do that. You're tracking all of these economic events, the fact that you can even list out what you should be looking out for, and then grabbing that information is part of the value of NewsWare. And you're using your NewsWare to follow other types of news and information, setting up alerts for things like merger news, shareholders meetings, catalyst calls. You're looking at stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the market today?
Just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 26 higher, 4 lower. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. They're all showing gains. So yeah, we're going to have a positive opening this morning. You're looking at some of the news behind the tape, and Apple's always out there. Apple's iPhone 16 sales have been banned in Indonesia over an investment issue. I got to get more details on that. You got earnings coming out from a lot of these companies this week, but I see one news story on Google that I found interesting was Google's pitching an AI-powered search tool to advertisers. That could be something there. And then we're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. I'm keeping an eye on Chevron. Chevron's down, hard this morning, down how much percent? Down 2.3%. Listen, oil stocks are falling as crude oil is down 5%. Earnings are out later this week, but you're seeing some real weakness in Chevron this morning. And that's due to the drop in oil prices. Boeing is trading lower by by about 1.5%. They're planning to raise about $19 billion in a capital raise today. In terms of merger news, Aviva, ticker ABBV, they're going to be acquiring therapeutics firm for $1.4 billion in cash. Then we get shareholders meetings going on. Tractor Supply, that's ticker TSCO. They're having a first responders day today. Interesting. I gotta learn more about that. And Vera Therapeutics, ticker VERA, Victor Edward Richard Apple. They're hosting a call today on a clinical trial update. That could be something there and worthwhile. In terms of catalyst calls, Citibank is feeling, that there could be a potential positive catalyst move with upcoming AT&T, ticker T as in Tom, event. That analyst call is not scheduled till December 3rd, but keep an eye on it. Could be something. But that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, we're rounding out October here. We're starting a new week. What is your pick of the day today?
I'm going with Corning, ticker GLW, Grace Larry William. Earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is 52 cents. Expected move is 5.73%. Friday's call volume, 12,868 calls versus puts of 1,805. Huge divergence. Call open interest, 212,255 versus put open interest of 70,668. Wow, that's nice. Major brokers raising price targets. Like to see that. Last quarter in their earnings announcement, they talked about growing opportunities and a recent agreement. Like to see that. This morning the stocks, was bid 46.37. So I threw in an entry price of 46.30 as my opening price. I might have to go higher than that because the stock just moved. It's trading 47.07. So I'm still going to stick with my lower opening price of 46.60, I guess, is what I'm going to do. 46.60, but I do think we're going to have some positive report today, tomorrow morning. I do like Corning, ticker GLW. I'm just upset that it kind of just got away from me already in the market, and sometimes that happens. I find it looks good, and I'm going to go with it, but it starts to take off before the market opens, and that's what we're kind of seeing. But we're going to wait for that price target of 46.60, and we're going to keep our eyes open for that opportunity, Emily. And that's my pick of the day. Ticker GLW, Grace Larry William, which is Corning, Emily.
Looking to play Corning today, Bill. And again, making those picks ahead of market open, like you said, a tricky thing to do. But playing this one ahead of earnings, that was a strategy used on Friday for your pick of the day. And coming up, we will do a recap on that pick of the day. So stick with us. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Johnson & Johnson drug shows efficiency in Crohn's disease in a phase 3 study. Looking at Johnson & Johnson, it's up 0.1% this morning. Eli Lilly, ticker LLY, they just got approved for their weight loss drug to start selling in Hong Kong. Now, the reason why this is important is because that is opening up access to broader China. And there is no weight loss drug like, this in China. So this news that they're going to start selling at the end of the year, they're going to start selling their weight loss drug in Hong Kong is really a big deal. Ticker DOUG, Douglas Edelman, the board is pushing for the CEO to leave. That's not good. McDonald's rules out beef patties as a source of its E. coli outbreak. Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought it was onions. I kind of remember saying it was the onions. Alibaba on Friday said it had agreed to pay $433 million to settle a U.S. class action lawsuit filed by investors alleging illegal practices by the e-commerce giant. Apple, Massimo, Apple convinced the federal judge on Friday that earlier versions of its health monitoring tech company, Monsanto's Massimo's smartwatches, infringed on 2 of its design patents as part of a broader intellectual property dispute between the 2 companies. The jury in Delaware, they agreed with Apple that the previous iterations of Massimo's W1 and Freedom watches and chargers willfully violated Apple's patent rights on its smartwatch designs. Delta Airlines suing CrowdStrike for $500 million. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we jump into trading on another week, let's do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day, which was on semiconductor, ticker ON. You did give us a look at the stock during your earnings rundown. They reported a Q3 EPS this morning of 99 cents. That was 2 cents better than the analyst estimate, 97 cents, as you told us, Bill. Revenue for the quarter came in at $1.76 billion versus the consensus of $1.75 billion. So squeaking past those estimates there. They did offer guidance. They see Q4 2024 EPS of 92 cents to $1.04. That's versus the consensus of $1. They also see Q4 2024 revenue of $1.71, of $1.71 billion to $1.81 billion. That's versus the consensus of $1.78 billion. A decent report there, Bill. You were playing this one Friday. It was up this morning. How did your call work out?
Worked out good. I mean, look at the facts. Stock opened up at $70.60, and it fell down a little bit, $70.57. Then it hit a high. It ran up and hit a high at $72.98, and closed out, on the day a little lower. But you look at this morning, and the stock is still continuing to be positive. I mean, after the earnings hit, the stock hit $75. It's now currently trading $73.69. So you figure if it opened up at $70.60 and now it's trading $73.70, I mean, that's a $3 gainer, which is much more than 1%. That's more like 3-4%. So yeah, on semiconductors, winner.
A win there, Bill, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Corning pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.